Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tea with Z. My name is Zamel Solanke, and it's an absolute pleasure to be joining each and every one of you again on another episode this morning. And if you haven't done so already, go and grab your cuppa, your tea, your coffee, whatever it might be, your bowl of cereal, your bowl of spaghetti, whatever it might be. If you are watching on from the other side of the world, go and grab maybe dinner. Cool, whatever it might be. I'm going to pop my drink down. And as you know, let's get some energy happening this morning. Some likes, some hearts. Let's get this energy exchange happening because in Brisbane right now, it is an absolutely phenomenal day. I'm feeling awesome and I'm sure you are too. So let's dive into today's episode. But before we do, actually, feel free, drop comments in the comment section below, say hi, and also in the description, you'll find a link to the Limitless Network. And the Limitless Network is a group of like-minded people who value health in any way, shape, or form. And if you're like me and like most people, well, we all know that without health, well, what do we really have? So feel free to jump into the Limitless Network there as well. Now, today we are touching on and leading on from our conversation that we had yesterday around about identifying red flags within our teams, even within ourselves and our own self-talk that we might have. Now, it's really important then to have the ability to have really open and honest conversations with those around us, but even with ourselves to recognize, if our red flags coming up, what are the questions that we need to be asking, but how comfortable are we to actually answer those questions as well? Now, a lot of the time when I'm working with teams and they're overhearing something, they're seeing some action happen, and they go and they've identified those red flags and they're doing that first step that we discussed yesterday. And if you haven't seen that video, go and check it out. But essentially, that first step was about identifying those red flags by listening and observing interactions, conversations, and actions of those around us. And the way in which we can do that is obviously, firstly, like I mentioned, by listening. But a lot of the time when we hear something and then we go to approach them and to find out a little bit more, which was that second step. So we want to find out why and identify that root cause of that root issue. A lot of our natural responses is, why didn't you come to me? Or why didn't you tell me this first? Or well, why didn't you just approach me about this? And all of those questions, when asked and if required for an answer, we should actually be answering ourselves first by starting with, why didn't they come and talk to me first? Why didn't they approach me first? Why didn't they feel safe to actually come and have this conversation with me directly? Why did they feel like they had to chat with their colleague rather than me as their team leader? And asking this question of ourselves helps us to really understand what the roadblocks, challenges, or obstacles they were facing with having this conversation, which might be a difficult conversation or might be something that they felt that they weren't safe to actually vent and talk to about to you as a leader within your organization. Now, there's one key term about this, and the the findings of this and the terminology around this came from Google as part of a massive project which found, I guess, or explored what made a really productive and successful workplace. And they found one key element, and it's called psychological safety. Now, we've touched on this in the past, but psychological safety essentially is the ability for team members or even for ourselves to feel comfortable to voice opinions, to voice ideas, to share things without fear of reprimand or fear of kickback to them as a result of voicing these things. Now, sometimes we don't want to hear things that we might not feel very comfortable about. And as a result of that, if we don't want to hear these things, or if we don't want to create an environment to hear these things, then these conversations are going to be held without us. And so when we look at answering those questions, well, why didn't they come and talk to us first? Why didn't they approach us first? Why didn't they feel safe to do it? It's because they lacked that feeling of psychological safety. And so how do we then create psychological safety to ensure that these conversations can be safely held? And what it's all about is about creating an environment around open and honest conversations. Open and honest conversations. Now, the ability to do that is to create levels of transparency. Levels of transparency that allow us to, remove assumptions from the team, but to also show them what might be happening in the back end that might lead them to have assumptions, might lead them to have opinions, might lead them to have judgments about why things are happening. And without being transparent and having open and honest conversations with our team about why things might be happening, well, they don't know. And as a result of that, there might be side conversations. And it works the same way. If we're not asking the questions and asking for transparency from our team and ensuring that when they do give us feedback, that their feedback feels heard, we might not have the capability to act on that feedback, but recognizing the importance of them delivering that feedback is the first step at ensuring psychological safety. And so when we look at, the ability to not only identify red flags, but prevent red flags in the first place, ensuring psychological safety is the number one thing, as shown by Google, to ensure that the team is working to a really productive state, but also with a really, a state of inclusiveness, of not just productivity, but also of purpose. And as a result of that, they're going to get so much more out of working with us. And as a result, able to achieve our goals a lot more efficiently and effectively as well. As a team. And that's what it's all about. So how do we go about identifying those red flags? Well, like I mentioned yesterday, we listen and we look out for those actions, but we need to create an element of psychological safety to have these open and honest conversations. Because even if we go on to the second step with identifying these red flags, we've seen time and time again where we'll go and approach them and we'll ask what the issue is, and they'll close off. They'll close off and not really get to the core issue. And I've seen this firsthand where team members have come to me and voiced concerns about what might be happening operationally in the team or based on the leadership in the team. And the leaders or the leaders of the company have given them an opportunity to then talk about it, and then they've closed off. Because they still don't have that element of psychological safety. So in order to really get to the grassroots problem of it, we need to ensure that they feel safe, to voice their opinion without having fear of consequence as well, of negative consequence. So that's it from me today. It is a game changer. Once you can bring these feelings to the surface and identify what's happening, it is an absolute game changer. So that's it from me today. Have an absolutely incredible day. Now, tomorrow we catch up exclusively in the Limitless Network. So the Limitless Network, as you know, is a group of like-minded people who value health in any way, shape, or form. And what you're watching on the screen right now is your link to the Limitless Network. You can click it in the description box below or scan the screen if you are watching on your computer, or just simply take a screenshot as well so you can look that up later as well. But come and join us. We have an exclusive episode in the Limitless Network tomorrow. So that's it from me today. Have an incredible day. Stay safe, stay well, and I look forward to catching up with you again on another episode tomorrow. Bye for now.